Clearly, I am not the only one that is tired of the NBA. Clearly, I am not the only one who is absolutely disgusted with the way that this league treats their fan base, which are also known as the paying customer. It should come to the surprise of no one that the NBA is in decline. If you look at ratings across the board on television, everyone else seems to be doing fine. Now, NFL ratings are down, but the NFL still draws the largest audience on TV. Major League Baseball's doing exceptionally well. Fox News, MSNBC, they are growing. Hell, Fox News, they have been drawing phenomenal ratings the last couple of months. The shows on Bravo that your wife or your feminine husband likes to watch, those shows are pulling good ratings. College football's performing. Everything seems to be doing well except the NBA. Well, KC, you forgot to mention the WNBA. The Dump just had a record-breaking season. It was amazing. The WNBA has huge stars. I didn't forget to mention the WNBA. I left them out intentionally. If the WNBA can show year-over-year growth next season, then they can be in the conversation. But it's not an accomplishment to show triple-digit growth when you're growing from basically zero. Ironically enough, the man partially responsible for the decline of the NBA, Greg Popovich, the professional pouter, the king of bitterness. It has been almost 15 years now since Greg started the trend of load management. During the 2010-2011 season, Greg Popovich, he started resting his aging stars. I remember, I think it was during the 2012 season, I think the Spurs were playing LeBron James and the Heat. It was a nationally televised game. Greg Popovich decided to rest 4 of his 5 starters. TNT was pissed off. David Stern was pissed off. David Stern did something that current commissioner Alice Silver would never have the balls to do. David Stern fined the Spurs $250,000 for intentionally resting healthy players. Unfortunately, the punishment wasn't enough of a deterrent to stop the trend of load management. Even though it's not as prevalent today as it once was, the perception of load management, it is having a devastating impact on the NBA. And that's the only thing that matters. The perception. How casual fans perceive NBA players. How casual fans perceive the regular season. What casual fans think about before purchasing tickets. When I'm buying tickets to NBA games, I'm not worried about the price. My biggest concern is who is going to show up. NBA teams have this habit of waiting until an hour before tip-off to announce who is going to be refusing to show up to work. Naturally, it pisses people off. People feel like they have been ripped off. And there's only so many times you can take someone's money. There's only so many times that you can waste someone's time, only so many times you can destroy someone's hopes until they eventually reach the point of apathy. They eventually reach the point where they have finally had enough. And I think that's where the vast majority of casual fans are right now with the NBA. Apathetic. They no longer care. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the second channel in the description below. This morning on the second channel, I explained why the Saints firing Dennis Allen is not going to be enough. I explained what else needs to happen for there to be real change in New Orleans. So if you haven't subscribed to the second channel, click the link in the description below and subscribe. I want you to think about something. We are 2 weeks into the NBA regular season. Now, outside of the NFL, the NBA receives more mainstream media coverage than any other sport. The NBA receives more national coverage than college football. 2 weeks into the regular season, how much have you heard about the NBA? How much coverage have you seen about the actual basketball on the court? Last month, Major League Baseball dominated the NBA in terms of media coverage. Major League Baseball, the supposed forgotten league. People are not talking about the NBA, and judging by these ratings, people damn sure aren't watching. Opening weekend of the season, it was a Friday night, Pacers-Knicks on ESPN. 830,000 viewers, down 47% compared to last year, and a decline of almost 1 million viewers. Suns-Lakers, same night, 1.4 million, down 22%. But KC, they were competing with the World Series. That's true. The World Series did feature two of the largest media markets in the country. I wasn't expecting the NBA to see growth, but a 47% decline? A decline of nearly 1 million viewers? The NBA featured teams in LA and New York too. The NBA is supposed to have the stars. There is not a player in Major League Baseball that comes anywhere remotely close to matching the star power of LeBron James. Last Wednesday, Celtics Pacers, ESPN, 1 million viewers, down 2% compared to last year. Later that night, Thunder Spurs, which featured two of the youngest stars in the league, two of the youngest stars that people don't care to watch. Thunder Spurs, 730,000 viewers, down 51% compared to last year. It's dreadful. I mean, it's absolutely dreadful. Now, the media, they will blame the World Series. The NBA, they will pretend not to panic. The NBA will pretend not to care, but I'll tell you who does care: the networks. Last week, the president of ESPN, he highlighted the biggest fear for the television networks. Kids are not watching sports. They're watching highlights, but they're not watching games. Networks are paying billions of dollars every year for the NBA, and the next generation ain't watching. To make matters worse, my generation ain't watching. Fewer and fewer people are watching full games during the regular season. Did the World Series impact ratings in the NBA last month? Sure, but there's always going to be competition. The World Series, it's going to be back next year. The NFL runs through January. There will always be competition for the NBA. But the reason the NBA is struggling, they are not giving people a reason to watch the product. To make matters worse, they're actually giving people every reason not to watch the product. I'll give you an example, and I'm sure this example applies to fans of the Clippers, the Sixers. Hell, I'm sure it applies to fans in Milwaukee who have witnessed Doc Rivers absolutely destroy their franchise in less than a year. This offseason, there was a lot of false hope in New Orleans. Again, Zion Williamson was finally in shape. Zion was saying all the right things publicly. This is my vengeance season. I'm going to show the world I'm a superstar. The Pelicans traded for DeJounte Murray. They finally added a point guard to the roster. Fans were hopeful going into the season. 8 games in, 2 weeks, all hope is lost. Zion's already missed 3 games. Sunday night, Pelicans claimed that Zion had hamstring soreness. He sat out. Last night, hamstring soreness magically transformed into thigh soreness. Not only did Zion miss the game, his ass didn't even show up to the arena. No one knew where in the hell he was. Now, the Pelicans lied and said that the team doctor sent Zion home, because thigh soreness is so contagious. They probably sent him home because laziness is contagious. Or Zion simply no-showed and the Pelicans were covering for him again. The past 2 nights, the Smoothie King Center has been empty. I'm talking about crowds that emulate the crowds that we see in the WNBA dump. I don't blame New Orleans for refusing to support the team. I blame the team for refusing to give them a reason. Yesterday, The Ringer published an article about this being a make-or-break season for Zion Williamson. Will he emerge as the superstar that he has the potential to be, or would he continue down the path of being a bust, a huge embarrassing failure? For 5 years, I have defended Zion Williamson. For 5 years, I have made excuses for him. I have said that he just needed to grow up, he needed to mature, he needed to get healthy. I have finally reached the point where I'm done. Zion Williamson lacks something that you can't teach: heart. To be honest with you, I'm to the point where I wish the Pelicans would just trade Zion Williamson. If he doesn't want to be here, get him the fuck out. I don't know this for sure, but I have a sneaky suspicion that that is what's going on right now. I think Zion requested a trade, or I think the front office, the team, finally had enough of his bullshit, and they are benching him to get him the hell out of here. And look, it's not just Zion Williamson. You can make the same case about other star players in the NBA too. Whether the perception is true or not, superstar players in the NBA, they are perceived as lazy. They are perceived as not wanting to work. And if there is one thing that normal people cannot relate to, it's laziness. I don't know how you do it, but something has got to be done about these guaranteed contracts in the NBA, because I guarantee you, if NBA players were paid based on the amount of games that they played, these minor injuries, they would magically disappear. We wouldn't see players missing games because of thigh soreness. Their ass would be on the court because they would want the money. I feel like shit today. I felt like shit for the past few days. I've got something. It's either a stomach virus or maybe a fever. Hell, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a pretend doctor like Jill Biden. I just know I haven't felt good. I also know there was absolutely no way I was making excuses to miss coming to work today. Could if I wanted to. I don't have a boss telling me that I have to be here. If I didn't want to work today, I could sit my ass in my studio all day and do nothing but watch TV. But I don't. Why? Because I owe it to you to be here. Today is election day. This afternoon, I'm going to be talking about the election. Going to tell you what I think is going to happen later tonight. I look at YouTube the way NBA players should look at basketball. Now, physically speaking, it is two completely different worlds, but mentally, it's the same thing. And that is the biggest problem in today's NBA. Mentality. The way I look at it, you guys allow me to play for a living. This is the easiest job I've ever had. Now, that doesn't mean every day is easy. Days like today suck when all I want to do is lay in bed, but my mentality will not allow me to do that. If you guys give me the luxury of playing for a living, the least I can do is show up to play. The least I can do is give you maximum effort even when I don't feel like it. For some reason, that mentality is lost on a lot of players in the NBA. Not all of them. Not all of them. There are players in this league that give maximum effort, whether it's October or June. But there are far too many star players in the NBA who are just there to collect a paycheck. And whether the league or whether the media wants to admit it or not, it is having a devastating impact. Give me your thoughts on this. The NBA opens the regular season with a wet fart. Ratings are atrocious. There seems to be a lot of apathy with the fan base. How would you solve this problem? How would you get star players to play if they seemingly don't want to play or they're not motivated to play? Is it even possible? You tell me. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. Appreciate your support. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, and I'll see you guys later.